Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I am in the habit of checking out questionable news sources once in a while. Infowars. There's a couple other I don't recall off the top of my head. And there was an interesting article caught my attention for a number of reasons. Trans woman breastfeeding her baby that's HIV positive. Okay, curious. I clicked on the article, and you can probably find it by Googling it. I don't want to put those links in my description because the YouTube algorithm has kicked them off, and yeah, there's a good reason for it. Infowars right now has a poll over who's causing the decline in America, and two of the options are black thugs and white supremacists. Uh, yeah, I kind of have to shower after reading that website. But it wasn't the only one. It was just one of many extreme right wing organizations. Now, from what I could read from an extremely biased thing, this person is 52 and they've gotten a child. It's never specified how this happened. They've gotten hold of a child and they're breastfeeding it. And they're HIV positive. That's your bullet points. It doesn't say any detail that I would be interested in. Is this a child of their partner, significant other, etc.? Is this a child that they adopted? Like, not that it makes a difference, but these things lend context. How is the trans woman lactating? Because you can't well, you can only breastfeed if you have some fluid there that's going to provide nutrition to the child. Otherwise, it's suckling. But they're insistent that this is breastfeeding. Now, the woman in question, trans woman, she says, "Oh, I'm so lucky to have all these doctors and clinics and stuff like that. And I'm aware hormone therapy is becoming an art form and they can do pretty much anything. But I don't think that you can grow glands for lactation. So, where is this article going? What is it saying? Do we have this magical medical breakthrough? Is this one of the situations where you pump a sac that's inside of you, kind of like a colostomy bag, although much more advanced, and then the infant can retrieve it through a canal? I'm trying to keep this PG at least. And then I noticed something interesting. This woman lives on the west coast of Canada. Try as I might, I went through the CBCs, the Toronto Stars, and National Post, which is pretty right leaning for us. And I couldn't find anything. Not a whisper. This is not being spread. Now, while I don't want to accuse these websites of making stuff up, I can't find this. This would be medically interesting to most people. Hey, we can make anyone lactate now? I know in the past there has been interest from men to breastfeed so that way they can get that bond with the child that a mother has. Not putting that up to anything, I'm not trying to ascribe any sinister motive to it. I'm just saying there has been interest there in the past. And my question still is, where is this lactation gland system coming from? Don't understand that at all. And unfortunately, these right wing articles are worried about the sensationalism to shock you. All the key words that right wingers hate to hear. Ooh, trans woman. Ooh, so scary. And meanwhile, they'll go out and have a heart transplant, a liver bypass, whatever the heck it is. But if you mess with anything between the legs, all of a sudden, ooh, you're a sinister person. HIV positive. Oh my God. Because remember when we all grew up in the 80s and we didn't know much about HIV and it was the scariest thing in the world? Yeah, they're captivating, or they're capitalizing on those same fears that were put into us when we were children. See, they're catching your attention. Breastfeeding, and then in the article says, oh, I got a wonderful team to work with. Well, you know what? I hope every mother on the planet has a good team to work with her because children are a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility. It's scary sometimes. And we aren't given any of that important information to lend context. This is where you start getting into yellow journalism. Remember, I searched, I couldn't find the source article. They were pretending they wrote it themselves. They didn't leave a source, they didn't leave anything. It'd be one thing if this is from CNN. This is from, oh, what's the big news amalgamator? You know what I mean. Anyway, they're just quoting this as though it is fact. And that bothers me because I would like to follow up on this a little bit more. What happens in a year, 5 years, 20 years? Is the child okay? Did everything turn out all right? Or is this going to be a medical marvel kind of deal? Now, there are men who are born with breasts, but that's an entirely different situation than a trans woman. And again, it's so frustrating because the articles I could read are basically copy pastas where they're saying the same things and they're trying to get you upset. That's the way the world is. We have to really think about what we're reading. It would have been easy for me to come out here, repeat the same headlines, read the article, and say how, if I were a right winger, how distasteful this is and upends family values and stuff. It's not going to affect anybody's family values. The people who are reading the article are right wing already, and they're not going to do any of this stuff. Left wingers can't get hold of the article because they don't go onto those websites. So unless you're a next door neighbor, you know the whole sordid history. And even then, I would think it would be interesting to talk to that person. You know, share a drink, not the same glass, but share a drink together. And wouldn't mind my kid being around that because it's an experience you just simply don't get if it's true. And I have to keep prefacing if it's true because even if you go on Google and you put the bare basic words in, you get articles from the National Institute of Health, which references studies done back in like the 90s and the 2000s and stuff like that saying HIV can transfer, but not always, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's the other thing. This trans woman is also getting tested monthly instead of semi-annually to make sure everything's okay. I do not know what that has to do with anything. Me testing the mother doesn't tell me anything about the baby. You got to test the baby. But for some reason, this is how you can tell these people have no idea how the human body works. Because what does a mother's testing schedule change? Nothing. HIV does go dormant and it comes back, but it's still there no matter what. We have to be very careful what news we consume. This is a rather extreme example, but like I said, it's probably happening out there in the world. If what these people are saying is true. And I have my doubts about that. But it makes for a hell of a story. I believe she might be going through that bonding experience where She's suckling her child, but actual breastfeeding, that requires lactation. And I don't think we're quite there yet, scientifically and medically. If so, congratulations on the baby, however you got it, and I hope they grow up healthy and strong and ready for all sorts of things, because there's people that hate that child for no reason other than they read something on a website. And life is hard enough. I hope they have schoolyard bullying extincted by then, even though I know it will never happen, because otherwise that kid may be in for a world of hurt. That being said, we wish well for everybody. Always. Silverlight never wishes harm on anybody, because one day that could be me. And while I don't believe in karma, I just think the world needs more well wishes. And it's a weird situation. If you have any thoughts or comments on it, the comment section is always open. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Please click the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the notification icon, because who knows what YouTube's going to do to it next. And we hope you have a fantastic day.